Hello, movie lovers. Welcome to Does It Hold Up? I'm Adam.
And I'm Emily.
And today we're going to be reviewing one of the newest movies in theaters, Dumb Money. And my first thought, before we get into anything, is this is the perfect title for this movie. Because this movie is about money, but it's also dumb. A really smart dumb, but definitely dumb. So, what we always like to do when we discuss movies, we always have to mention what our favorite part of a movie is first before we can talk about anything else. Always start on a positive note. So, my favorite thing about this movie was Paul Dano. I feel like Paul Dano is such a great actor who's underutilized in pretty much every movie he's ever been in. It's nice that this year, combined with, the Batman and now Dumb Money, he's really starting to kind of come into his own and be recognized as a leading actor, and he crushes this role. What about you? What was your favorite part of Dumb Money?
My favorite part about Dumb Money was the various people we got to follow throughout the movie. We follow multiple different stories and how they were affected by this whole big thing that they decided to take part of. And it was really interesting to see how different people handled it.
Very cool. So if you guys don't know what the movie Dumb Money is about, it's about during the height of the pandemic back in 2020 and 2021, one guy named Roaring Kitty Online drove sales of stock for GameStop. He ended up making millions of dollars from buying in when GameStop was only about $3 a share, but the more he pushed it, more and more people bought in. But the problem is Wall Street was expecting GameStop to collapse. So they had bet a bunch of money on the store closing. When he drove sales to the stock, the company became very profitable for a short period of time. Wall Street lost a ton of money, and so they attacked him. And one of my favorite lines in the movie, and it's in the trailers as well, is with the stock market is supposed to be for people who, with a little bit of knowledge and some luck, can make a fortune, or at least make some money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this movie's all about. This is what the whole story is about. It's based on a true story about real people. And you're right, we do get to know these real people, which is really interesting, but also very confusing at the same time.
Yes.
Because I know one of your biggest problems when we saw this movie was, yes, it's cool to see all these different people, but we don't focus on any individual person or people invested in the stock market for more than like 4 or 5 minutes before we're immediately cutting to somebody else. So it's a lot of editing back and forth between stories that just when you feel like you're connected to that person, boom, they take it away from you.
I really think they were more interested in telling everyone else's story rather than Roaring Kitty's story, who's supposed to be the main focus of our story. A big name actor for that role, and he's supposed to be the focus. And yet I knew more about the nurse character than I did about his character. And I cared more about her because of that. So it just had a really odd amount of time given to each character, and it kept cutting in between. So every time you got interested in that character, it would cut. And be like, okay, well, I guess I'm following this dude now.
It was some of the worst editing ever because I have no idea whose story we were actually supposed to be watching. I thought it was supposed to be Roaring Kitty and how he changed the stock market game. Nope, just kidding. It's about 7 other people, including 3 hedge fund managers, Roaring Kitty himself, and 4 different people following Roaring Kitty and deciding what to do with their stocks based on what he does. It's a very interesting story. I said it when I first saw the trailer. I think this movie was a little too soon.
Mm-hmm.
This just happened 2 years ago. We haven't even had time to reflect on it. We have no idea what the lasting impact is going to be with what happened with the GameStop stock. And yet here we are trying to push this story about how it changed the entire landscape of how Wall Street sees things. It's been 2 years, guys. We have no idea. Something I want to ask you about, though, is the script.
Mm-hmm.
I had a big issue with it, but I'll get to that in a minute. What did you think about the script from the movie?
It was kind of all over the place. Like, I know they touted it as a comedy. It's not really funny at all. The funniest person in there is Pete Davidson, and he's got maybe 10 minutes total screen time, which was actually really a shame because I really enjoyed his character. But it was so kind of all over the place. Like we said before, it followed random people. It didn't know who to give focus to.
The writing just didn't work for me.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna cut you off here for a second because there's a big problem I have with it. If you don't know anything about the stock market, this movie's not going to be for you.
Yeah.
If you don't know anything about money trading, how hedge funds work, how anything works, you're going to get lost because this movie does a really good job of using big words and telling you what the stock market is.
Really fast, mind
But
you.
it doesn't tell you how it works. It doesn't take the time to make sure that you understand what they're talking about. It's literally just big word, stock market, buy, sell, hold, end of movie.
Excitement?
Yes. Huge excitement, apparently. So that was my biggest problem with the script. Did you feel that way?
Oh, yeah. I know absolutely nothing about the stock market. I'm also not really a numbers person. So you throw a lot of those big words at me, you throw a lot of numbers at me, and I'm going to zone out. I have no reason to care. And they missed the mark visually as well with that whole aspect of they could have done some really interesting things with like showing us the graphs moving, showing us this or that, but they never did.
No.
We literally watch people look at their phones for an hour and 45 minutes.
Can I say, I think this movie, although has the perfect title, I'm going to suggest a second title for this movie, and it's called Look at Your Phone. Because the entire movie is based on people just looking at their phones because they're checking the stock price over and over and over again. Every time we are following one of these new characters, whether it be Anthony Ramos or America Ferrera or Paul Dano, they're just staring at screens. Screen the movie is what you watched because that's all you're looking at.
But they also didn't even do it in an interesting way like Searching did.
Correct. It's not, they don't use any visual style of like watching the charts grow, watching the money tick in. It's quite honestly just looking at somebody's computer screen to see what is currently happening in the story.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't work for me.
Yeah.
Overall, I think this movie had an interesting idea, and if it wasn't based in a true story and they really just wanted to delve into how the stock market could be interrupted or corrupted, that might have been better. But trying to base it in reality and spread yourself very thin telling 8 people's stories. Seth Rogen was a very interesting character. How did he make his money? How did he get involved in GameStop? What is shorting a company? It would have been really nice if his character could actually explain anything that he was doing, but instead he would show up for 5 minutes to just swear a couple times, get yelled at by other hedge fund managers like Vincent D'Onofrio or Nick Offerman, and boom, bam, he's done, off screen. And that was the biggest problem I had with this movie. They didn't know the story they wanted to tell.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Dano's character spends a lot of time with his family, Keith Gill's family.
Yep.
That was very interesting. Didn't get enough of it. America Ferrera, as the nurse who buys into the stock, has a very interesting story. Didn't get enough of it. Anthony Ramos, as a GameStop employee who bought into GameStop while he was working there, very interesting story. Mm-hmm. And his whole come up and everything, great. He has a great ending. But it didn't work, it didn't land, because there wasn't enough time spent with him. I think this movie just ran itself a little too thin. The writing wasn't very good. The best part about this movie by far is all of the performances. Every single actor is on top of their game, from Nick Offerman all the way to Paul Dano, and even the little cameos in between. Pete Davidson, as you said, is excellent in this movie. And using real life footage as well of
the TikToks,
the senators, the committees, all that, really played well into the story. But overall, even with all of that, I don't think this movie is really worth watching. So overall, you know what we do on this channel. We give it a grade. But since we're doing something a little different, both of us on screen, you're actually going to get 2 different grades for this movie. So, Emily, go ahead and tell them first. Should they go see Dumb Money? What grade do you give it?
I'd give it a C+ for the performances alone.
All right. I'm going to go actually slightly lower than that.
Oh.
I'm going with a C for this movie. I think it's the lowest grade I've handed out to a movie since we started this channel, but I have to give it to this one because nothing about this movie works. Visually, it's not an appealing movie. Script-wise, it's not an appealing movie. The performances are great, but they don't have anything to do. Editing-wise, not a great movie. Nothing about this movie screams, man, I really enjoyed it. I want to watch it again. It was a movie. I watched it. It exists. And I feel like you can definitely skip it. Watch it at home when it comes to streaming if you're bored one night. That's the best thing I can say about this movie. But that's it from us here, talking about Dumb Money in theaters. Well, in select theaters now, goes nationwide this coming Friday. Let us know in the comments below if you're going to check out Dumb Money or if you will wait on it and save your money for something else. Don't forget to like this video, share it with friends, subscribe to our channel for more great content. If you can't wait though, click the video on the screen right now, right here. You won't be disappointed. Until next time, be good to yourself, be kind to others, and keep watching movies.
Bye.